Steve, thanks for coming. So Steve, you're from West Palm Beach?
West Palm and Riviera Beach.
You were born in Palm Beach County?
Yes,
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 59.
You're 59, you were born in Palm Beach County, and what can you share with us about what you've learned about Palm Beach County?
What I know about the history is what my parents taught me. They migrated from Georgia and Alabama, came down here to Palm Beach County. From what they tell me is that the blacks were pushed out of Palm Beach to here, Pleasant City.
Can you say that one more time?
The blacks were pushed out of Palm Beach.
Okay, the blacks were
island.
pushed out of Palm Beach.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And this is where they ended up. Cameron, Pleasant City, and Riviera Beach. My father taught me a lot. I came with both parents. My mom, she didn't really talk that much, but when she did, it was all truth. My father taught me heavy equipment, how to operate an asphalt plant, dozer, front end loader, all of the heavy equipment stuff.
So your father was in the paving business?
He was in that heavy equipment, anything that heavy equipment came.
Okay, so he operated heavy machines,
Right.
and he taught you how to do it.
Right.
So you eventually got a job doing that kind of work?
Yes, sir.
Up until how long ago?
Up until about 3 years ago, I got sick. My esophagus forced me to stop working because I couldn't keep down any food. Anything I ate came up.
I see.
And I lost a lot of weight. I used to be like 170, and now I dropped down to 120. I'm gradually picking it back up now.
So what do you have a disease? Like what happened? What are you suffering from?
It just I don't know what happened. It's just my esophagus just, from what the doctors telling me is just my esophagus is not operating properly. So when I eat, it comes back up.
How many different doctors have you gone to?
One.
You've gone to one doctor.
My insurance only allows one doctor. One doctor. Well, I got my primary doctor, but she doesn't specialize in that. But I got a gastroenterologist doctor that specializes in it. And they were trying to send me to Jacksonville, but I have no funds to get to Jacksonville to actually take care of the problem.
So Steve, help me out a little bit. So I don't know you, and when I decided to, start my YouTube channel, I figured I would interview people from the neighborhood and try to make the world aware of
Right.
of what's going on in Palm Beach County.
Okay.
And you're educating me to your situation, which is,
Right.
interesting to say the
Right.
least.
I grew up
So,
with the same guys. Same guys as.
Steve, are you homeless?
Yes, I am, because of my health.
So, do you have any children?
2.
You have 2 kids.
Right.
And your wife, ex-wife?
My wife, we're separated. We've been separated about 10 years.
Okay. And how old are your children?
28 and 29.
So, do you have any substance abuse problems?
No.
So you simply have health problems, and because you don't have many resources, you're essentially forced to be homeless?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
What do you spend your days doing?
Trying to find something to eat, trying to find shelter out in the rain. I sleep in the park. So when it rains, I get wet. I'm soaking wet. When it's hot, it's hot. They got a couple places around here that will feed you, but there's a waiting list on placing people in shelters and homes and stuff like that. I've been on a waiting list for about 5 months now, you know, and it's rough. It's rough for me because of my illness, you know. It's really rough.
How old are your children?
28 and 29.
And where are your children?
One is in Georgia, and the other one is in Connecticut.
And what are your children doing? Are they boys? Are they girls? Are they married?
A
Are
boy
you
and a girl.
grandparents?
They're married.
Are you a grandfather?
Yes.
And you're a grandfather.
Yes.
Wow, Steve, that's you know, you would never know unless I ask, you know.
Right.
And I'm not sure what to do, but I'll do my best.
Mm-hmm. And it hurts me because I came up as a provider, provide for my family, my children, and stuff like that. And I can't do it now because of my health. You know, I'm unable to work. You know, because my strength is not there. You know, because you saw me just now.
Yeah.
And it really hurts me.
So is it? Let me ask you a question about like you know, sports shakes and nutriment and things like that. Ensure.
Right.
Are you able to consume those types of things without too much trouble?
Yeah, and sure, but it takes money.
All right. Well, you know, I can afford to go, you know, buy a case of Ensure, and if you come back, you know, I'll make sure that you can have some of that.
Right.
I promise you, Steve. I'll go buy a case of Ensure and I'll keep it here.
Okay.
And every day you can come get at least one container.
Okay.
You know, I can at least do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to share with the audience about, you know, how we can you know, teach our kids to, you know, I assumed, and please forgive me, I assumed you had a substance abuse problem, and I assumed that I was going to talk to someone that was going to be able to talk about how to stay away from drugs and the wrong thing, but your story is catching me off guard.
Right. A lot of people assume because of my weight. A lot of people assume because of my weight because I can't keep weight on me. You know.
Yeah, and I want to apologize for making that assumption.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm quite embarrassed right now, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, I just have to live with it. You know what people think. You know, I know that I don't have a drinking problem. I don't have a drug problem. I don't have those type of problems that will lead me into doing the wrong thing.
I
You
see.
know, I'm trying to do all the right thing, but it's just not happening. You know, I'm trying to all these places that say that it will help me. Is sending me to other places, and other places, you know. And
Are you collecting Social Security?
No, they say 62.
So you're not legally disabled and qualify for Social Security?
I know. I even tried for disability, and they said that in my case, they don't see anything that's wrong with me.
So you really need to see a specialist in order to really get some help. And how long have you been? 2 years, you said? 3 years? I mean, did anything specific happen before you started experiencing the symptoms?
No, it's just.
It just happened all of a
I
sudden?
guess it could be the spicy food that I used to eat.
You ate a lot of spicy food.
That's what I figured.
You don't eat spicy food anymore?
No. No.
Wow, Steve. So, yeah, I was going to ask you if there's anything you can share with the audience to try to influence, you know, people to do the right thing, but
I can because I grew up around people. You know what I mean? I've seen people do wrong. I've seen people do good. You know.
well, share some of that.
Well, it's up to you what you want to do in life. The guys that do wrong are they selling drugs, robbing people. That's what they choose to do. You know, I grew up around them, so it's kind of hard to tell a man what to do when he has no other resource. You can't find a job. You know, you can't find a job, and he's got a family to provide for. So he's doing what he knows best to do. You know, and then the guys that's actually working, you know, they got decent jobs, a lot of them, you know, but they're not making ends meet really, you know, because how high rent is, you know, food, because you make so much money, they don't get your food stamps. You know, you don't have any help. So most of your income is going towards rent and food. You know, you might have some small kids that take daycare, and daycare is expensive. So it's rough on us. It really is. You know, it's rough.
I'm sure you've noticed inflation. You've noticed things just
Yeah.
requiring more money to purchase.
Oh yeah.
Man, how do you can you explain that? I mean, what are your thoughts about the direction our country is going?
Uh, I don't know. They need to go up on the wages for one. If they're going up on rent, you know, housing and stuff like that, they need to go up on the wages so people can afford it. Actually, you know, because just a few weeks ago I saw on the news where people were gonna move can't afford their condos anymore. They're moving out because of mortgage, the way the mortgage went up and stuff like that. You know, and they say they can't afford it. You know, and these are white and black people, the same. You know, where there's some people out there homeless right now, white and black. That's not on drugs, but they can't afford to pay rent. You know, and so they're in a situation where they have to sleep outside.
How do you explain it? If you had to explain, in a few sentences, why this is happening in America, how could you sum it up into a few sentences?
Well, we're not making enough money. You know, it takes money to provide for yourself and your family. And if you don't have that, then there's people around here sleeping in cars, police arresting them, you know, because they're sleeping in their cars. They're not doing anything wrong. They just sleep in the car with their family because they can afford rent. You know, only thing they can afford is car insurance, gas, you know, a little food, and it's rough.
It becomes very difficult when you're homeless to maintain anything.
Right.
Yeah, I would imagine people try to maintain the car so they have the opportunity to go get a job,
Right.
to maybe get back on their feet. But man, everything is becoming very expensive.
Right. Right.
My situation is similar. Like as I was telling you, I'm a metal fabricator, and I've been paying $12 a square foot, for the last 5 or so years, and now I have to pay $25 a square foot
Right.
to be in a similar space. So a lot of my colleagues that are also craftsmen, tradesmen, shop owners, they're not re-signing their leases.
Right.
They're planning on moving to North Florida or a different state where they can afford to be in business.
Right.
So yeah, we're seeing some significant changes, and I'm starting this YouTube channel to talk about the similarities between what happened in Palm Beach back when the Sticks town was allegedly burnt out, and what's happening now with
Right.
with
Because
tradesmen.
eventually, Eventually, they're gonna move everybody out of Pleasant City and Tampa because they're building these condos, high-rise condos, and pretty soon they're gonna force people out of here, just like they did in Palm Beach, island of Palm Beach. They're gonna force them out. They're gonna force them out. It's gonna be rough because everything is so high. These people can't afford that.
You're right. And I'm wondering where they're going to go. Are they
Right.
going to go to Georgia? Are they going to go to, you know, North Florida?
Mhm.
Is there going to be an exodus of black people going out to Belgrade?
Right.
You know, what's going to happen? What is the evolution?
Right.
You know, people, you know, poor people or, you know, blue collar people, there's not much of a middle class anymore, but we seem to gravitate where there's industry, where we can find jobs.
Right.
You know, Pittsburgh was full of people that worked in the steel industry, and Detroit was full of people that worked on cars. And a long time ago, West Palm Beach was full of people that worked in the electronics industry.
Right.
And we saw all kinds of different little businesses pop up to service the electronics industry, machine shops and industry. And, you know, once that stuff went away, um, you know, we saw the demise of West Palm Beach.
All right.
You know, when I was a kid, if 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 I had a friend that was, you know, wealthy, maybe they were young and driving a new car in high school, I wasn't surprised to find out that, you know, one of their parents worked at Pratt Whitney.
Right.
You know, but we don't hear about that so much anymore. You know, I think Rocketdyne, you know, was involved in some kind of industry around here, you know, back in the days. So yeah, you know, without mining, manufacturing, or agriculture, you really can't have a nation, much less a city. And we're watching all of our mining, manufacturing, and agriculture go away, leaving a bunch of children that in these neighborhoods that are essentially scheduled to go to prison based on statistics.
Right. Right.
And man, it's sorry. I'm sorry to watch this.
Right. See, when I came up, people they were working in fields. They were picking oranges, watermelons, you know, doing that type of work. But they were bringing home money to feed their kids. They were able to work every day. It wasn't much, but rent wasn't that much either. You know, and not like my parents, where they had trades. But Pleasant City, Riviera Beach, Cameron, a lot of those people's parents and grandparents were field workers. So they have no trade to teach the kids. You know, so it's rough on them. It's rough on them because 90% of the kids trying didn't go to college. The parents didn't go to college. You know, they have nothing for the kids to grasp. You follow?
You know, before I became a welder, I did some tile work, and I remember seeing trucks that said Jack Vogel, and you know, when Jack Vogel's crew was on the job site, you know, Jack Vogel was a stucco guy, a plaster guy. Do you remember Jack Vogel?
Not really.
I don't remember where his shop was, but when I was a kid, Jack Vogel was the stucco guy. And if you wanted a good stucco crew, it was a bunch of black guys from the neighborhood that showed up and did really good stucco work. I mean, real good plaster, they were the best. I remember going on to some of these job sites in Palm Beach and seeing Jack Vogel's crew. So, you know, what happened where Jack Vogel's, you know, children or, you know, relatives are not still dominating that business? Like, what happened? Or maybe they are, and I just don't know. But, you know, when I saw those guys on the crew, it was a serious job site, and the architecture was epic.
Right.
And that was the guy. You know, when you saw the you know, the Miato marble crew on a job, that was a really high-end job. And if they were there, chances are Jack Vogel's crew was right there too. What happened?
Probably sold it. or left it with the kids, and the kids didn't follow through the way he was, bringing people in and stuff like that. Kids probably just sold it.
Who knows? We'll
Yeah.
find out. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody will
Yeah.
leave something in the comments and let us know what's going on with Jack Vogo's plastering crew. Well, hey, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate you sharing your story, and we're going to see if we can organize something to, get you some assistance.
Right.
But thanks again.